Good. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Capital Improvement Committee meeting. Today's date is December 5th. It's time being a little bit after 3 o'clock. We want to call this meeting to order. I'll have the members call out their names so those who are present. I know that Dennis Keefe is the Selectmen's member, and he is actually may join us at some point. He was a little bit under the weather, but he said he may be able to join us. He was actually seeking some medical advice before today, so right about this time, so he may or may not be able to be here. So I'll have you, because this is a remote meeting and you need to, everybody state their name for the record. I'll start with John, who's a member representing the Finance Committee.
Hi, John Mahoney, Advisory Committee member.
Advisory Committee, thank you. Amy?
Amy Bordeaux, Superintendent of Schools.
William Keegan, Town Manager.
Chris Gallagher, DPW Director and Representative of the Boyden Water and Sewer Commission.
All right, and so I also have advisory members to the committee. I'll go with you, George.
George Samia, the Finance Director.
And Marie?
Marie Almodovar, the Assistant Finance Director.
They are both non-voting members, but here to advise the committee on various items. So we'll start with the meeting today was to address 5 different items that are on the agenda. Actually, 6 items that are up for consideration today. 4 of which will be considered by the special town meeting to be held on June 30th. And first up is the laundry building demolition and additional funding request. And Tony Masali will be speaking about that issue. Go ahead, Tony.
Hello, everybody. Basically, on the laundry building, we're looking to request $200,000. We have originally set up $100,000 for the ARPA money and $50,000 for grant fund money. But where we put the thing out for bid and all that, it ended up coming in between $298 and $495 to do the job. So we're short. And basically, there's $56,000 for the, the KVA, for the architect to draw up all that and do all the bidding and all that. So by going with the $200,000 request, that should cover the whole project.
Okay.
And
So you currently have $150,000 in available funds. You need an additional $200,000 in order to meet the total requirement of about $350,000.
Correct.
Okay.
Does that building have an excavated basement, or is it a flat slab?
It has like a crawl space basement. One area's got a full basement, not a big area, but one area has a full, and then the rest of it is like a crawl space, all the piping and all that underneath.
Is work included to fill it or really fence it up once it's taken out? Or?
Yeah, the town has brought a lot of their fill over there, so we're supplying the fill.
Yeah.
And Chris is happy to get rid of it. And so we actually have the fill on site right now, most of it anyway. So basically, and the whole building is condemned as a hot building.
Yeah.
So everything is, asbestos. So they got to go through and take out what's hot and not. So we had I believe 6 vendors.
Yep.
I just
5.
wanted to make sure there wasn't going to be some big hole left.
Oh, no, we're gonna fill it
It'll
up.
be leveled off.
It'll be nice and leveled off, and it'll be a place for Chris to be getting rid of all of his fill.
That's right.
So we'll go from
So,
there.
That area has been identified as a possible site for future consideration for a community center. But this building has to be removed first, so, we're not, that discussion is sort of at a halt right now, given the circumstances for buildings and cost of buildings, et cetera, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But certainly, this is something we need to do anyways. It's been an item of concern for a number of years. I know the fire department's been there for a number of fires over the years. We've had some vandalism issues with the police department. And I know that you've actually done things.
We've been boarding it up every couple of weeks. We have to board
added
it
new
up.
lighting to it and et cetera to keep it from falling into further disrepair. So, excuse me. So at this point in time, does the committee have any further questions about this particular request? The request again is for $200,000, which would be in addition to the $150,000 that we already have available.
Correct.
Any further questions from the committee?
It's just something we've been talking about for years
Yep.
on the committee.
Yes,
Right.
finally,
We finally at that point.
getting there.
Of course, it's unfortunate, but the prices just went through the roof.
Well, when I had this, when we looked at the 150,000, I believe it was 18.
Right.
And, you know, back then, you know, a ton, I think, was going for $75 a ton, which is now $200 a ton for disposal. And fuel and everything else, and workers, so.
We only had 50,000 available.
Yeah, that's the problem. We didn't have enough back
We didn't have enough to do it then, but we needed 100,000, which we
Right.
got, then once we got it, then the prices went up again, so unfortunate, so. Okay, all right, let's move on then to the next item on the agenda, which is Taser Replacement Year, year one of a 5-year program, and Chief
Good afternoon, everybody.
Chief Grace will speak to that issue, please, Chief Grace.
I believe everybody got the request and the proposal. So, within the police department in 2020, the act relative to justice, equity, and accountability, the police reform bill signed by Governor Baker, mandated police training, hiring, and certification. With that, that basically sums up that every single police officer working underneath you will all meet the same standards all the time. Hence, the reserve police officer force and their training requirements at 120 hours has been ended. And any police officer in the last year, this year, in the next fiscal year, will all have to be full-time trained police officers. Foxborough is very unique because we run 30 reserve police officers in order for us to staff and man events at Gillette. We need every single one of those bodies, including as many members of the full-time police officers and up to 27 other communities on game day. With that, I have a large reserve force that currently does not have tasers and do not meet the standards of de-escalation under Mass General Law. So currently, our reserve officers have obviously verbal techniques, hand techniques, they have pepper spray, and they have firearms. They're all qualified, they're all trained, but I don't have a level 4 use tool. Under the law, they're mandated to de-escalate. If you do not de-escalate, it's a criminal violation. So I had to look at purchasing tasers for all of the reserve officers, which would have been 30. Taser, which has the market, they are the sole provider in Massachusetts. Actually, it's owned by Axon now, has come out with a new version of the Taser. The one we currently have is 2011 technology, and it's no longer being sold. The new Taser 7 has a different platform for training, a different platform for certification, a different platform for data storage, and for what we call a cloud-based property room evidence. So ultimately, and they have come out with their research to say if your Taser is more than 5 years old, it is twice as likely to fail, and Taser will no longer cover their insurance policy beyond 5 years. So currently, my Tasers are over 5 years old. So we did the proposal, we did the bid, and now I have to purchase 70 Tasers for all the members of the police department. We have to train them all, and I have to recertify all my instructors through their program. And that is why I'm in front of you today. The cost is $249,000 or $59,000.
49,000.
Yes.
So and I should have probably mentioned this earlier, in the one for the previous item, the reason why this is being discussed and put forward for the special town meeting is there's a timing issue here. With respect to the bid for the laundry building, that bid is being held, and it's going to be held up until the town meeting before, so that's why we need to get it done now as opposed to later. Same thing with you, Chief. Can you speak to why this needs to be done now as opposed to later?
Well, we locked them into a rate, and if we have the deal signed before the end of the year, they're anticipating a 10 to 12% increase. If I had, beyond the bid that I have now, and that expires at the end of December. I can tell you, I don't really and I don't think we have an option with this. All my police officers are out there working. If an officer is involved in a situation that requires someone actively assaulting them, they do not have a tool in their tool belt to respond to that. And ultimately, I'd hate to have someone feel overwhelmed, overpowered, and ultimately have a lethal use of force. And I can tell you the first question they're gonna ask is, why didn't you have a taser or a level 4 use of force? And I can't sit in good faith and say, we couldn't afford it.
Right.
It's mandated by law now, also. The de-escalation, taser activation with the officers is sometimes they pull out their taser. Just pulling it out is a use of force. De-escalation technique, turning it on and using verbal commands, and sometimes pointing it at someone who is potentially assaultive is another de-escalation technique. The new tasers record all the data. They record how long the
Interaction.
yeah, and they also, what they do is they have a new model that you can back up even farther, and you can reset the taser, and it'll close the gap, so you can shoot at a farther distance. And the new prongs actually penetrate coats now. So it's a different tool. And that's, unfortunately, when they have the market and when they change the product, I can't take the old ones and modify them to meet the new standards.
So now this is a mandate, effectively it's a mandate, probably arguable whether or not it's, I suppose something else could be done, I'm not sure what that is, but I think the question, begs the question, what kind of funding sources are being made available to help do this, other than to say, you gotta pay for a local jurisdiction?
You gotta pay for it, local jurisdiction. These are many of the unfunded liabilities that came with the police reform that they're mandating police officers to have, and there's no funding for it.
So we'll add that to the list of things that they
I
should
have,
have.
I have a big list, yes.
So this purchase is all 70, but it's paid for over 5 years?
Well, we can spread it out over 5 years, but you have to commit to the full purchase.
Okay. So you're getting a chunk every year?
Yeah,
49,844.
yeah. Be like
So we'll get- we would
50,000
get-
a year.
It's not we're getting them all and then we're paying it over 5 years like a loan.
Right.
We're getting a certain portion of the
No, we're
thing.
gonna get them all up. If you commit to it, you get them all up front.
Okay.
Because I have to.
5-year financing plan, effectively, yeah,
Okay.
Ultimately, I'd like the CIP just pay for it all
yeah.
and be done with it, because
You could conceivably do that. I think, if they're willing to do that for 5 years with no cost, no additional cost, why wouldn't we do it?
because I don't want to be sitting in front of CIP and all of a sudden I get told no, and I
Well,
don't know.
we are committing ourselves to that, if that's the case. It's an obligation.
Yeah, so,
So if we paid all up front, would there be a better price? Because they're financing us.
yes.
That's a
So
good
that-
point.
yes,
That's a good point.
That was the point, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No, so would we get a better price?
No, they've already negotiated down to the best price.
But they're still gonna, so they're basically financing this for nothing.
Yes, there's no charge for the financing, correct. And we're getting a better turn-in if we, on our old tasers.
Okay.
Are you
As
going to
well.
have any, so there'll be a time period where you'll have both, and you'll have to?
Yes, there'll be a time where we're certifying new instructors, certifying all the offices, and still carrying the old ones until we can have the system fully operational. We have to build the cloud, the storage, get all the licensing, and train all the offices.
How tight is your timeline before you got to send them all back?
There's no rush.
Okay.
I actually have our older ones from
Yeah, we-
15 years.
We own them.
Yeah, we own them, so.
Okay.
So the 5-year payment window is not something that's been, we did it with the street sweeper, right?
Street
committed to
sweeper and the streetlights too.
Streetlights as well. So we paid for it over a 5-year period, with zero impact in terms of the financing, which is a good thing. There's certainly a cost to it, but I'm sure they're burying it in the cost of the item. But they're not willing to give you a better price if in fact you were to pay for it all at once, as such, then just, better to pay it up for 5 years under those conditions.
Yeah, so we can pay, we got the best price there is. I mean, they're on the state bid list too. We've negotiated our old tasers down. We pushed as hard as we could.
Okay.
But I am concerned that we're 3 years from now and some other concerns come up in the town, finances are different.
Well, you do have we're most obligating the town under these
Yeah.
conditions, so.
Okay.
In 5 years from now, we'll have to buy the next batch, right?
Right.
That's correct. This is
Probably
now
true.
a new, we
Every
used to
5
keep,
years.
honestly, we used to keep our old tasers. We'd buy replacements.
Yep.
We'd send them out, we'd have them repaired. But now they're saying that their product after 5 years is end of life.
I mean, the other option is to build it into the operating budget too. We could do that at some point if we had to. This is, if it's gonna be an ongoing cost.
I mean, how do you buy, your officers have their own guns, or you buy department guns?
No, department purchases the firearms. We get about 8 years out of them, depending on usage.
They rotate
And
them
then,
all.
we work with the vendor on a trade-in, and then we've come before CIP to do the conversion. Our last conversion was the 45 to the 9mm, which was about, probably 4 years ago now.
About 4 years.
Yeah,
ago,
4 years
remember
ago.
that. Yeah.
So, Bill, I'm just curious why this stuff is in front of us. Is it because it's more than 1 year? That's why?
Yeah, so, yeah, it's anything over 25,000. I mean, anything over 25,000, Joe.
Okay. All right, that makes sense, okay.
Any other questions from the committee on this? Good. All right, thank you, Chief. We'll move on to next item. Let's see here. All right, the next one is the replacement of the staff vehicle for the fire department. Chief Chief Michael Kelleher will be speaking to that item.
So is this, I believe this is an addition.
It's and a supplemental appropriation is what you're looking for, right?
Yes, yep.
Okay,
So this is we have the funding in our public health revolving account.
Okay.
So just a quick background, we had an open administrative assistant position, kind of really looked at it hard, seeing how things change, especially after police reform, you know, what the future was going to look like, especially coming out of COVID. We're seeing a lot of issues with people that kind of fallen through the cracks in mental health, having mental health issues, things like that. A lot of communities are looking at hiring emergency response social workers, so that's something that I talked to Chief Grace about, and you know, parlaying that funding into a community social worker position seemed to be a better use of that funding. So that's what we did. We're in the process of trying to hire that person now. One of the problems is we need a vehicle for that social worker. This kind of falls in line with the parameters of the public health revolving account. We have the funding, so it kind of was a good match. By title, emergency response social worker. They're mobile, so we do need to have a vehicle. Nothing too extravagant. A smaller, the smallest type SUVs they have, like the you know, just something that has four-wheel drive, just to keep them out in the wintertime. So.
Okay. Questions from anyone on the committee? This one's pretty straightforward. This is actually something that we really looked at quite a bit to see if this would make sense staff-wise, and this is a home run for us in many ways.
I think so, yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, the collaboration between, you know, police and fire is something that we can both seriously take advantage of. And, you know, we've had a lot of discussions about it. And I think, you know, Chief Grace can speak to it too, but I think it's definitely something that's warranted in the community and needed. So, and I think the best part of the story is it really doesn't cost the taxpayer anything. It's even right down to the vehicle. We're using all of, you know, existing funding or funding that we have, so.
Okay, great. Anybody have any further questions about it?
No, I can just speak to the, you know, the price increase and, you know, the fact that you had a vehicle ordered, the dealer canceled it, which they did to so many people across the state in the public sector. And, you know, now you've got to reorder it and buy something, whatever's on the lot. And
expensive.
pay, you know, pay full price.
Well, yeah,
You know, it's across the board.
The supply chain is killing us. Absolutely, you know, just the trying to get even parts is a nightmare.
Yep.
Okay. Further questions? Anybody have any questions? Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Do I
Thank
have-
you, Chief. And then you have another one on the garage doors?
I do. So the garage doors at the fire department they're original to the building. They certainly have seen better days, and you know, about 5 years ago we started seeing some failure in especially the front garage doors, and over the last 5 years it's getting significantly worse, to the point where now we stock parts at the fire department so they can be repaired expeditiously, where the breakdowns are outpacing our stock, so now we're being affected by those supply chain issues. And if you notice the ambulance facing the wrong way in the first bay, that's because that door was broken for the last month. So working with our vendor, they said it's time. You've gotten your life out of these doors. So we're looking to replace the front 5 doors. He said the back doors are still in good shape. And if we can, the funding we put, we're still kind of haggling over the price, really tune it in. I know we can replace all the front doors and openers for the price that we put in, but I think we'll be able to do the back openers as well for the amount of money that we put in for the CIP, so. But that's something that's kind of it's every day they, every time they open, sometimes they get stuck open, that's a problem. But when they get stuck closed, when we get a call, that's a real problem.
That's a real problem.
That's a problem.
So there's
you can't
delays,
just drive through 'em.
scrambling. Yeah, so.
Even though you may have to
Yeah.
someday.
Firefighters typically don't panic, but when something doesn't work like that, you can see them running around, but.
Yeah.
So it is an issue. And then, there's some value to replacing the doors. We didn't have insulated doors prior, so we're gonna look to buy insulated doors for a better value for the, the heat and, things like Wi-Fi door openers now. That'll be an added benefit, so we can close the doors in the wintertime. If somebody can't close it or forgets to close it, we'll be able to close it from anywhere. So that's another, added bonus. But we're probably spending in the neighborhood of $10,000 this year just repairing the existing doors. So, it's getting costly.
Okay. Questions? This one was one we obviously, how soon can you get it done?
We're gonna get it moving as soon as possible.
As soon as there's a commitment, town meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, and Tony, you looked at that as well? If you looked at the garage doors, okay. Is the floor done, by the way?
Yeah,
Yeah,
looks
come on.
great.
Yeah, I need to get over there and see it.
Yeah, looks big improvement.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay. All right, so other questions? We good? All right, let's go on, move on to,
Bill, this is just informative, we don't vote on anything, right? We don't have.
yeah,
to-
well, actually, we do that at the very end.
Okay.
So if there's any questions about anything. And I think, actually, you talked about the staff vehicle with the other one was a supplemental appropriation for the ambulance? Yeah, that's,
Yeah, we had ordered a vehicle after after the meeting in June.
yeah.
And we had, because we were trying to get ahead of it, and they canceled our order
Oh, really?
for a vehicle. Yeah, and the price is just, I was talking to Marie the other day, they won't, so we used to be able to go in and buy a vehicle off the lot if we found a dealership, and they would honor the state bid pricing. They're not doing that anymore. If a municipality wants a vehicle, they're paying MSRP off the lot.
Okay.
If they'll let you order a vehicle, but it's challenging,
Okay.
so that's something.
So you're looking at,
I think I put in for $9,200.
yeah, $9,200,
Yeah.
which is additional appropriation from the ambulance fund?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you. So you took care of, killed 2 birds with 1 stone there. And then I'll go to Libby for the replacement of the carpet at the Boyden Library. So I think, Tony's already looked at this as
Yes.
well, so, okay, great.
Tony's looked at the space, gave me a quote. We're not looking to replace the whole carpet in the library. We would just like to replace the high-traffic areas that are very worn, discolored. We've tried to correct some of that with a carpet cleaning in the spring, and it didn't really do anything. It brought the stains, soon after, it brought the stains right back up. This carpet has been in there since the renovation, so approximately 10 years, so we're looking to replace that. And the estimate is about $30,000.
And this won't require a town meeting because you have funds available, but it is a $25,000 cost, so that's the reason why it's before the committee. So the funds are available within the department's budget to pay for that. So
You're using the budget, or you're using your supplement?
it's using a budget.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she has another fund, but they already have plans.
That's what I thought you were
They
taking
had plans
it
for
from.
that.
Yeah,
They have a fund that's primarily for building funds, but they already have plans for the use of that.
Okay.
For other things, so. All right.
The lower traffic areas, you think are good enough to last for a few more years?
A few more years, yes. Yep.
High traffic areas, meaning the main entrance ways, things like that.
Yes, the main entrance, and then like sort of around the circulation area, and then towards the stairs, and then on the first floor, as you go up, the first floor, like right in the entrance of that, and around the reference desk to like the elevator.
Okay. Anything pose a tripping hazard or anything like that, or?
I don't think so. Tony, would you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason why it needs to be done now is because it's within the fiscal year. And then otherwise, it would have to be, it would go with the next fiscal year if we waited to the annual. Okay, great. Questions from the committee? Okay, thank you. Relatively straightforward. So, given the 6 items that we had, does anybody have any, I'll give the committee an opportunity to answer any further questions you might have.
I do have a question on the garage doors. Last year, did you set up a different fund for the repairs? You make money off repairs on vehicles from other
Yeah,
departments?
the vehicle repair, pay line.
Is that,
doors I pay for, some of the repairs.
Yeah, we split the repairs. We've been going back and forth with, just to spread it out, because neither one of us really have the budget for it.
Right.
are we, you repair the vehicles in the building? Is there-
In a section of the building, yes.
It's a different bay.
Okay.
It's not the same bay as
Okay,
you're
all right.
referring to.
All right.
This is where the truck comes out, the
Okay,
fire
yep,
truck comes
all
out.
right,
These are the main entrance doors
yeah, okay.
for the garages, yeah. All right. Any questions? So what we can do is we can take them item by item, or we can take them as a slate of items that the committee would, I'll go with whatever the committee chooses, and somebody wants to make a motion, we can go in that direction. It's entirely up to the committee.
Bill, anything we would, gotta watch out for with the Taser one to do it separate, since it's over a couple years, or is that?
That's a
doesn't
fair
matter?
point. And we could maybe take the other items as being one-time expenses, and that, and note that the Taser is a 5-year commitment, and note that for the record. So you could do it as a slate of items for those 5 items: the laundry building, the replacement staff vehicle, the garage doors, the staff vehicle, social worker, and the replace the carpets. You could take that as one slate of items, and then go back to a second motion would be to do the Taser replacement program, which would be a 5-year commitment.
So I'll make a motion to approve the laundry building demolition, replacement of staff vehicle, replacement of garage doors, staff vehicle for the social worker, and replacement of carpets as proposed.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye, and we'll do that by roll call, given the fact that we're being televised. So I'll start with you, John.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Amy? Chair votes yes,
Yes.
and Chris votes yes. Okay. So let's move on to motion number 2.
Motion to fund the Taser replacement for the first year, with the town of 5-year plan.
Very good. So do I have a second for that?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor say aye. All right?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Amy? Chair votes yes,
Aye.
and Chris votes yes. So, okay, we have minutes from the committee meeting from the last, that occurred back on June, what was it?
June 7th.
June 7th. Which, let's see if I have that. Does anybody have any questions about the minutes? They were put together by George, relatively straightforward.
John just sent them because nobody brought like hard copy. I think he sent it by email to.
Right, so everybody has
I
them.
read it by email.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
Yep, I didn't have any questions on them.
Yeah, all right.
Anybody else have any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, do I have a second?
Second?
And then, in roll call vote, John?
Abstain.
You guys abstain, you weren't part of it, that's right, okay. So Amy?
Aye.
Aye, the chair votes yes.
Aye.
Chris votes yes, okay. They are approved with a 301 vote, okay? All right, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Did 340.
Well, why don't you make the motion, and I'll let Amy take the vote.
Motion
The
to
second-
adjourn the meeting.
There you go.
I'll second
All right.
that.
There you go. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.